Hi, and welcome to the Red Tunic Podcast, a podcast where I look to rediscover what makes gaming fun and enjoyable by having positive conversations with those related to the industry. Today I'm joined by Becky Frost, the Community Events Coordinator at Special Effects, a UK charity dedicated to making games more accessible to those with physical disabilities. Hi, Becky, how are you doing today?
Hey, Link, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I'm doing really well, thank you.
Well, that's great to hear, and no problem. Thank you for making the time to talk with me. So, why don't, before we get started, why don't you tell us a little bit about Special Effect, just so everyone has an idea of what it is that they do and who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you've mentioned, we're a UK based charity. We make and modify gaming equipment for people with severe physical disabilities so that they can enjoy the wonderful world of video games. And that can stem from just, you know, small modifications to regular controllers to setups using the Xbox adaptive controller to setups that are completely eye controlled. So, depending on each individual person's needs, our specialist team of assessment people will go and visit them and create a setup just for them based on their needs, the movement that they do have, and the games that they want to play, and the consoles that they want to play them on. Very importantly.
Yeah, and that's when I first heard about your organization and read about it, I felt it was just a great organization, and in all aspects really, just because the the approach for more inclusiveness or inclusivity for video gaming in general, and making them more accessible is just something that I strongly believe in, and to have organizations such as yours that are doing that, I just think is absolutely wonderful and fantastic.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we really believe that everyone should be able to play, and play is a right of every child and every adult, and yeah, and we see firsthand the amazing things that the gaming community and those sort of communities of players can do for people, and the effects that they have on people's life and confidence, and uh, just the communities behind them are incredible. So yeah.
Yeah, and definitely, and it's yeah, like I said, it's always just fantastic. And I want to ask you, how did you get into working with special effects?
Well, I'm a bit of a nerd. I've got to be upfront about that one.
Hmm.
And my husband and I were running a Nintendo fan club in our local my hometown, and I decided one day just for one of our meetups that I wanted to do a charity event. So I think I just Googled gaming charity because I didn't know if there were any gaming charities out there, and Special Effect popped up on Google, um, and I was like, "Oh, this is really cool!" I got in touch with them. We did a fundraiser, and from there, I kind of fell in love with the charity and what they were doing, and started volunteering at events, and realized, hey, I really enjoy doing this. um, and just sort of kept in touch with the charity, and they had a opening for a job come up. I applied, and here I am. But yeah, it's I kind of got involved as a fundraiser, then a volunteer, and then started working with Special Effect. But
Yeah, and that's pretty cool. Starting as a your own little club, as you said, and then just sort of uh, getting into it, and learning about it, and then having the opportunity to work for them. That's pretty awesome. Now, is there
mm,
anything specific that drew you to working with special effect, or was it just as you said, the whole general idea of it was just fantastic?
yeah, I think the idea drew me in first of all, but they I'm going to sort of say they because back back when I was first looking at them, I was sort of outside the organization, and they were really like communicative with their case studies and stuff. So it felt like when we did our fundraiser, I think we raised about £1,000, which is it felt great back back then. Um, but I, you could see the results of that almost, and see the stories that were coming out and the people that they were helping on their Facebook page and on their Twitter, and it made me feel like I was more a part of the charity. than just a fundraiser, if that makes sense. And that's something that working with special effect, I can say that they're really passionate about. You know, we like to, as a communications team, we like to keep people informed of what their, you know, what their 24-hour streams are helping us do, what their cake sales are helping us do. Um, so we really kind of have an emphasis on making sure that people know that whatever help that they're giving us, whether it's, you know, raising 20 quid at a cake sale or raising 1,000 quid at a Mario Kart tournament in a pub, it's all really appreciated, and it all goes to help real people. Yeah.
Yeah, and that makes sense. And also, I want to quickly say, I know you jokingly, said only £1,000, but that's, any amount is always good when it comes to a charity. Or at least I feel it is. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. This is one of the subjects I get on my soapbox about quite a lot, Link. We have people around Game Blast, which is our annual streaming fundraiser. And sometimes we get streamers who have, just started out and they're not sure what kind of a difference they can make, sort of tweet out saying, "Oh, I'm really small. I've only got X number of viewers," and it's one of those things that I get really passionate about. I'm like, "No, you can make a huge difference no matter how big or small your platform is, how many people are watching, how many people donate. Like, it's not all monetary either. So just imagine like you have, I don't know, two viewers and one of those viewers knows someone that we could help. That could change someone's life. Like it's not all about, yeah, I don't know why I said that with the £1,000. Like I'm really proud of that. We did really well as a first event. But yeah, it genuinely doesn't matter like how much people praise or how big the audience is. Like everything makes a difference.
Mhm. And yeah, I didn't mean to, to infer that you were downplaying how much you made. I know you were just making a little bit of a joke there. But I just really wanted to quickly touch on, because like you said, you elaborated far better than I ever could about, the importance of awareness, even about just
Mm,
the organization, or about what it is you're trying to do and how it can help. Just as you said, word of mouth can travel, and you tell a friend, they tell a friend, they tell a friend, and suddenly someone that is having trouble or has disabilities that limits them from enjoying video games is now aware of something that they can get involved with, and
mm,
redo or be able to do what it is they're interested in, which is absolutely fantastic when the gates are open and everyone has a seat at the table or what have you.
absolutely.
I really mixed metaphors there, and I apologize. But
No, that's fine.
um so because I want to focus a little more on like special effect, just because like I said, I fully well believe this is a fantastic organization. um so with special effect, can you tell a little bit more about um the kind of impact that you do have with gamers or with people?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I kind of chucked out the term life changing there in a really casual way, but it it genuinely is in many cases a life changing thing to give someone that independence that they may not have had before with gaming, and that link to communities and friendship groups that they may not have had before, or have had and then lost and are coming back to. We have case studies on the website where people have, you know, been been leading fairly standard standard lives and then been in catastrophic life changing accidents that have taken them away from being able to do that day to day stuff, be it just answering emails or running their businesses from home, or playing and meeting up with their friend group online, and being able to re-enable someone to do that kind of stuff is it sounds really hallmark, but it is life changing. Um,
Hmm.
there's a really lovely case study of an older lady who we helped a couple of years ago. who'd suffered a stroke, and she was left unable to speak and unable to move quite a lot of, I think, her left side of her body. But we'd set her up with some communication software and enabled her to use her computer again. And I remember, I think she emailed to let us know that this had happened. But she had been able to book a taxi, book a restaurant, and book some cinema tickets for her and her husband. And it was like the first time that she'd been able to surprise him since the accident. Uh, and it's just that kind of, I don't know. I remember like coming home and booking some cinema tickets for me and my husband because I was like, God, I take that for granted so much. um, and it's just this lovely kind of, these lovely little stories that come out of the people that we help so often. Um, yeah, it like even little things are make such a big difference.
And definitely, because you said that, and I realized that as well. You really do take for granted all the things that you um, just do without realizing
Mm,
the uh, without realizing it. Really, as you were saying all of that, um, as cliche or weird as it may sound, I was looking at my hands and thinking, yeah, that's I don't know what I would do in the event of losing the ability to fully um, use my hands and fingers to as simple as something as typing.
mm,
So like just to be able to give someone that agency is the wrong word, um, but like empower them to be able to be to do things on their own again like that. That's wild and fantastic. It's just awesome.
yeah, absolutely. I actually hear that a lot from people. Obviously, 2020 and 2021 are happening.
Mhm.
So I haven't been to any real life events. That it's usually part of my job to go to expos like Insomnia Festival and EGX, which happen here in the UK, and set up a stand and talk to the public about us and demo some accessible equipment. And a lot of the time at these events, people will come by and go like, "Oh, this is this is incredible. I don't have any like disability in my family or any friends that have a disability, but this is the first time I've thought like, whoa, what if gaming was taken away from me somehow? What if I was in an accident? What if this happened to me or someone I loved?" And it's it's funny, but that realization just doesn't occur to a lot of people. And I mean, it didn't really occur to me either before I found out about special effect, I think. So yeah, it's definitely a comment that I hear from a lot of people at events that I didn't think about this, but what if I lost the ability to game? So
Mm-hmm. And because as you said, earlier you mentioned, all the tools that you can use or that are available now. Um, as someone in, that field or that realm, um, how does it feel knowing that, the technology is getting better, more and more accessible? Unintentionally being tongue in cheek on that. Um, but being more accessible because I know like 10, 15 years ago you would see people modding a controller for single hand use. I believe Ben Heck was one of the first people that started hacking um, controllers and such to do this kind of stuff. And then in the last handful of years Microsoft introduced their adaptive controller system, which I think is just absolutely wild. um,
mm,
because it's a fantastic thing. It takes a lot of the um, uh, finer customizations out in that you can just plug something in, whatever works. So from your viewpoint, or from from what you've had experience with, or what have you, what's your take on the landscape on what's becoming available and how it's making things easier? I know that's kind of a weird way to ask that question. I'm sorry.
no, that's cool. So special effects have been around for almost 15 years now. And even in the five-ish, six, five, whatever, in the X number of years that I've been with the charity, the level of technology has changed so vastly. It's been really amazing to watch. Like it blows me away sometimes that you know, a regular site in the office would be one of our service delivery team taking apart a controller and resoldering it to do different things that we needed it to do. Um, and now it's more like these things are made and packaged or like ready to be put together into a system. Um, so seeing the Xbox Adaptive Controller come out was fantastic for us. Microsoft actually asked us to be one of the charities and nonprofits that helped with the creation, the research, and the testing behind that. Um, so that was a really a pivotal moment, I think, within the industry where the conversation kind of stepped out into the open and started being more widely talked about. Um, and I remember when it was launched, there was a bit of conversation about like, oh, is this going to be like just a special, Microsoft only kind of thing? And there was a tweet or a statement put out by Phil Spencer saying like, hey, if you're one of the, another big company and you want access to any of this information or research that we've put together for this, just get in touch. Like they genuinely want everyone to be able to play. And that's one of our like core values is that we just want everyone to play and to be able to be involved. So that was really nice to see that happening. And a lot more, developers are coming to us and asking what they can do to make their games more accessible as part of the development process. Bigger, AAA games have started putting a real focus on accessibility within the development process and not as a sort of patch afterwards, which is really nice. Of course, like it's great as a patch as well, but it's just really nice to see that happening as part of the sort of core development um, process. So yeah, I think that the conversation is happening now more regularly and more readily, and it's just really wonderful to watch. I'm really excited for what the next few years are gonna bring.
Yeah, definitely. Because like you said, when all of that started coming out and becoming more in the open, and you saw people having that conversation, it kind of did. I don't want to say kickstart because there was always people that were trying,
Mm,
but it made it more um, easy to talk about. Weird way to put it. But it just became something that people were having a better ability to talk about and discuss, and also, like you said, there was actual studies and data and everything that people could reference, and games started to look at how they could incorporate even micro steps were fantastic in
mm,
just in some cases, as small as it was for quick time events, turning it to a hold instead of a push.
yeah.
Because like for me personally, I have tendonitis or what have you in my wrist and hands, as I think a lot of people that sit and type at computers and play video games are
Mm,
prone to develop. And just the level of frustration I had from having to push one or two buttons at the same time aggressively, um,
mhm,
having that relieved was fantastic. I can't imagine the amount of relief someone that has an actual disability. 'Cause, I'm not trying to infer what I have is comparable, um, but I can definitely empathize with the ability to get rid of that frustration to be able to actively enjoy what you love doing without
mm,
those limitations, without anything making it painful or difficult. So
yeah, absolutely.
I also do want to ask you about your view on, because you kind of touched on it, your view on games and the industry becoming more open and about accessibility. So, do you have any opinions you'd like to share on that?
I mean, other than it's great that people are starting to talk about it, not not really. It's a really boring answer, but I'm just happy that it's becoming more of a thing, really. And special effect aren't out to kind of shame anyone who's like not currently up to speed on stuff. We provide resources and help for studios and developers who want it. But we're not, campaigning or anything. So with I just I'm glad that it's becoming more of a conversation, and if people want to start that conversation, special effect are always here and really happy to help. So yeah.
And yeah, I apologize. I think the way I asked that kind of made it seem like I was it wasn't intended to be a loaded question. Um,
No, it's okay.
I, I I realized after I asked him, like, oh no, and the way you were answering, oh no, that I think there was some. I think it sounded like I was, trying to trick you there or something, which I definitely
No,
wasn't.
I wish I had a more interesting kind of answer with it, but it's just I mean, we're very chill as a charity, I think. I think is
Mhm.
something that surprises a lot of people. Um and yeah, I guess I'm just sort of like, yay, it's good. But that's not much of an answer.
Well, no, that's a perfectly valid answer. And as you also said, you guys aren't you're not chasing down people, you're not being militant about it. Um,
Mm,
and it sounds more that you're more like you're taking the approach to be educational about it. That if people approach you, you're going to educate them, and that's I think the way it should be. Um, because if a company wants to do something, they're gonna look for a subject matter expert. That's way too businessy. But they're going to look for an expert in the field to discuss it. And at that point, it just becomes a learning experience. And the
yeah,
more people that learn about it, the better it gets. So yeah. So I
absolutely.
apologize. I phrased that question a little aggressively or what have you. I'm sorry about that. And yeah, like what you said is perfectly valid because yeah, everyone should just be happy that it's getting out there.
Mm. Yeah, we want to inspire people and not, I guess, preach to people. So or make anyone feel bad. So yeah, inspiration is the key there.
Yeah, exactly. And not to go too deep into that, but if some I've seen in some cases where organizations take the approach of trying to shame people, and all that really does is creates hostility. And
Yeah,
at the end of the day, you don't want that at all. You want people to be comfortable, and like you said, you guys are really chill about it. You want people to also go with a relaxed attitude because if everyone's relaxed and is discussing things, it's just going to be a better time for everyone, right?
yeah. I mean, we just want everyone to be able to play and like come play Mario Kart. Don't feel bad about stuff. I'm
Exactly, exactly.
very Nintendo centric. Do you? I should say like different. Hang on, you can edit like, oh, play Tekken or something in there.
Now, I'm not too big on fighters, but I do believe Tekken is pretty technical. So
Yeah.
I and I don't mean this in a negative way. I would be very impressed to see someone with one of your setups playing a very technical fighter, only because
Oh, I'm sure that that's happened before. I'm almost positive we've had Tekken set up. You'd be amazed, kind of like games that we work with that you're like, how does this even work? Like, I I keep referring to our sort of service delivery team as wizards because I
Mhm.
have no idea how they do what they do. It's magic, but it is incredible some of the demos that they come out with, which again is why I really love seeing so many case studies come out from the charity. Like it's really important that people see like, oh, my favorite game has been made into an accessible game for somebody else. Like that's really cool. So yeah, I'm sure we've worked with Tekken before. I think I've done a demo even with Tekken. But I mean, I wasn't very good at it, but I tried, which is part of it.
well, like I said, I'm not very that it's one of the more technical fighters, I believe.
Mm,
Um, and I just like you said, I imagine there are people that are with a setup that are fantastic at it, and that I think would just be amazing to see, if only because, the amount of precision that's needed for those kind of games
Yeah.
says a lot to the technology, as well as to them. I'm not trying to downplay anyone that would use a setup, but it says a lot about their ability and the technology, how they're interacting with it and everything.
Yeah. Oh man, I've been absolutely thrashed by some of our service users. It's yeah.
So, Becky, I do kind of want to change the topic a little bit to you. Ask some questions for you, and learn a little more about you. What is it that got you into gaming? Like, what is it that you enjoy about video gaming, and how do you enjoy it now?
Oh wow. Um, what got me into gaming? I don't know. I've always kind of some of my earliest memories of gaming is like stealing my friend's Mega Drive and playing Sonic around his house and being really jealous of my other friends because they had a Game Boy, the original Game Boy between them, and I was like, wow, this is the height of technology. I've always just been drawn to it. Like I really like puzzle games and platformers. I'm not very good at them, but but I like them. Um, and yeah, it's always just been sort of part of my childhood and development and growing up. Uh, and one of my first jobs was actually at Game Station, which is I think sort of an equivalent to GameStop in the US. Um, doesn't exist anymore over here, unfortunately. I think it got swallowed up by Game and then doesn't exist anymore. But uh, but yeah, it's just always kind of been part of me and my personality. Um, yeah.
Awesome, and yeah, I believe. Sorry, I don't know where I was going with that. Um, but no, that's great. Like you said, I can especially relate to to certain things like how platformers are sometimes a little difficult. It's not
Mm.
always about being good at what you enjoy, right?
Oh, thank God for me. Yeah.
And that wasn't.
Absolutely. I don't think I'm good at any particular type of game, but I do just enjoy them. So yeah, I genuinely don't think you have to be like good at gaming to enjoy it because otherwise I'd be in real trouble. Um,
And that wasn't meant to be a shot at you by by any means. It was
it's
just.
fine. I understand.
um
I feel so attacked right now.
um well, hopefully this next question kind of alleviates
Oh
the
no.
the blow. Um Now, because you said you enjoy, platformers and such. What kind
Mhm.
of games were your or platformers and puzzlers and such? What were your favorite games as a child, and what made them your favorite?
Oh, my first like my first few like games that I owned, we had a like beige kind of level PC in the house, and I think I think it was like Broken Sword. I don't know if you know the series, but really sort of mystery point and click adventure game kind of stuff. And I remember being really drawn to that because the art style was really nice and like I think it was all hand drawn kind of backgrounds, and then the sort of characters were animated on top. But yeah, it was just sort of puzzling out like what I needed to do with this, 40 foot of hempen rope versus this dish, and like how do these things work together, and that kind of led me into uh, the Grim Fandangos um, and the other sort of point and clicky kind of games. And I think I kind of took a bit of a break after those. My first like console that I owned was a GameCube after that. Um, and that got me onto Animal Crossing, and it's all been kind of it's all been Animal Crossing from there, um, quite typically. But yeah, point and click kind of got me like hooked on gaming. Um, I remember a game, I think it was called like Turin's Passage, really really old. old game that probably would not like stand the test of time today. But I just loved it, and like the stories, I think are a big part of it for me. So sort of these epic, quests and tales and stuff, and it was just really nice to sort of be part of the story. Um, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, definitely. The immersion aspect, right? The
Mm,
better it is that you can get pulled in and feel like you're part of the story and contributing and everything. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I think a lot of people can relate to that, and as games now are being seen more as an art form. Um,
mm,
you have writers and everything that are trying to do that even better. Because like you said, before it was really point and click games that kind of highlighted, or not highlighted, that really went full in for that. And
mm.
it just took 20 or so years, 30 years before all of that started to catch up to, I guess you would say, the mainstream approach.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, games as art is definitely kind of my area. Like, I've never been super drawn to the AAA kind of titles. I can't really think of one that apart from the sort of family games and Animal Crossings of the world that I've been particularly drawn to. But I do love a good indie game, and with like a really good story behind it and some really nice artwork. So yeah.
And yeah, and especially with the last, 10 or so years, indie games have been actually more than 10 years now. I'm kind of forgetting what year it is. Um, 10 to 15 years now. With indie games getting this wild resurgence, where you are having people that are just willing to just sort of try something wacky or try
Mm,
something very specific without the fear of, it being a, as you said, like a AAA title game where there's millions and millions of dollars tied up in it. And if that one hook fails, that's a lot of, I don't want to try and diminish this for a smaller studio, but with like a larger studio, that's a lot of money and a lot of time,
mm,
where you'll get smaller studios who are able, or not able, that are more willing to take that risk. And I think that's always fantastic as well. Just the the whole, trying to see what works and actually pushing the art form forward.
mm. Yeah.
So Becky, you touched on Kryn's passage and how you said, you don't really think it would hold up today. Are there any other games you can think of as a that you played as a child that probably wouldn't hold up today, just due to aging technology or whatever reasons?
Oh man, I I remember having this like text-based adventure game on our very first family computer that was like loaded onto five separate floppy disks, and like not just normal floppy disks either, like the big guys. um, I think it was like green text on a black background, and I'm just like, I don't know if those exist anymore today. um, I think, yeah, it's just these like really old kind of formats of gaming that have kind of been lost to time. I mean, someone might hear this and be like, no, there's a really massive scene for all of this, and I just don't know about it. But yeah, the like multiple discs and sitting for hours while stuff installs, and no save points and stuff that can that can stay in the past, I think.
And yeah, fair enough. You know, uh, definitely with the having to load unreliable floppy disks and all of that fun stuff. Um, when you could actually just throw them as frisbees or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, um, but yeah, no, and you kind of touched on it, and I just want to let you know, just in the event that you are interested in ever getting back into it. Weirdly, there are probably more than a small number. I only know of a small number, but there are text-based. games um, coming back up where it's a little more involved than just typing things out with the green characters on like a terminal window or what have you. Um, but that there is a bit of a resurgence for that. So if you are ever interested, they do exist, and you can relive the ASCII based graphics and typing to do
The ASCII
everything.
based glory days, yes. Yeah. Oh, that sounds awesome. This is what I love about the games industry, like, if you really love something, there's someone out there who also loves it, and there's a community that you can get together and be like, "I love this thing. I love this thing too. Let's be friends." It's just brilliant, isn't it? Like, it's wonderful. I love it.
It really is, and the only asterisk on that entire conversation is, most of them seem to be roguelikes, so they're
Oh, no.
always going to be, as you said, no real saves. You're gonna die and have to restart.
Yeah.
Um, I think most of them, if not all of them, that I've encountered have been like that, and that's if you like roguelikes, that's fantastic. If you don't, it's a very terrifying experience.
Do you know what? My husband's really into roguelikes, and I get really frustrated really easily, so I just can't play them. But like, it's great that there are so many different things out there for different people. So yeah, I'll let him know for sure.
So, you kind of touched on, enjoying Animal Crossing, how that's sort of been the direction you went. I read on special effects that you enjoy indie games. What are your current favorite games that you're playing?
Oh, well, Animal Crossing kind of hasn't left the top slot of my Switch for quite some time. But I did just download a game called Rain on Your Parade, which is by a little indie studio called Unbound Creation. They actually really kindly got in touch with me sort of via special effect and said, "Hey, can we donate some game keys for our game?" And I'd already been looking at it because I was like, "This is cute as hell." So it was already on my download wish list. But it's a very sort of Untitled Goose Game esque. You are a cloud. You rain on people's events and you just ruin their days. Um, and I guess I'm just in need of being a mean cloud for a while. It's been very cathartic. Um, but yeah, I've been playing a lot of that and Fall Guys. I'm big into like colorful games with not very many consequences at the moment. um, uh, what else have I been playing? Um, there's a game called What Comes After, which is a very text-based, story-based game, which is uh, to kind of go against my sort of happy, colourful trend. It's about death and sort of what comes after death. I haven't finished it yet, but it's shaping up to be a very sort of personal and quite touching game that's been uh, put out there. And what else? I mean, Among Us, where we have a Friday group where a lot of our friends will get together online and have a big old game of Among Us. And that's been kind of primarily how I've been keeping in touch with friends over the pandemic is games like Among Us and Fall Guys and Gang Beasts and stuff. And I mean, D&D. Does D&D count? Can I throw a tabletop game in there?
Y- Yeah, definitely. It's a game. It's something that you
It's a game.
enjoy.
Yeah, we've been kind of keeping in touch with online D&D as well. I mean, over the pandemic, it's gaming's generally been my main source of keeping in touch with friends, and having there are only so many like Zoom calls that you can have without kind of an activity to to do together. Um, so yeah, it's been just sort of facilitating hanging out with people really. Um,
Yeah, and definitely. And, like exactly as you said, you can only go so long before you get exhausted from the whole always being on a webcam and always having to look at
Yeah.
someone and all of that. Um, especially in your personal life, because I know with, as you said, the pandemic, um, the shift for that even in work life is now also going through the roof. So, it's just mentally draining at that point to always have to be on, so to say, and I do that in
Mm.
finger quotes.
Yeah. The good old podcast finger quotes, but no one can see them, but you're being sarcastic.
Exactly, exactly. I
Yeah.
have to say when you're doing the actual thing. So, I don't want to keep you for too much longer. So I just have another quick question before um, moving on a little bit.
Mhm.
What kind of trends have you seen in video gaming over the last couple of years that you've really enjoyed?
Um, oh, I don't know really. I mean, a bit broken record, but just seeing accessibility options becoming a thing, like even from a personal point of view, has been really cool to watch. Um, and even if it's like not relating directly to special effect or our work, like just seeing more games out there with different text size options or different audio options. Because a lot of the time, I don't have any hearing problems, but I prefer to watch stuff with subtitles a lot of the time. It's just I concentrate a bit better when the subtitles are on. I don't know why, but it just helps. So being able to turn subs on in games has been really helpful for me. Um, so that I guess is a trend. Um, I've I've really enjoyed the fact that indie games are kind of more front and center now as well. In previous years, I've gone to events like EGX Resd, which is a thing that happens here in the UK where there's a big focus on indie games and developing studios, and that is becoming more and more popular at just mainstream events. Like they have smaller studios and independent studios and students just making games, and it's just wonderful to see this variety um, that that those smaller studios and students bring to the table. I mean, I played a game a couple of years ago that was made. I don't know if you have them in the US, but do you have those little? I don't know how to describe them. Door stoppers, I guess, that kind of twang. Like they're kind of like springs that stop the door
Oh,
from smashing into the wall. Is that a thing in the US?
I can't say for the US. I can say for Canada they
Oh, sorry.
definitely are. No, it's no worries. I would imagine they would be as well in the US, but there's wild cultural differences in the US, like wearing shoes inside, that I can't. So I don't know. But yes, I'm well aware of those annoying little
The
springs.
twangy things, yeah, the musical instruments that people hide behind doors. Someone had made a game with those. So he had like a board just of these like springy door stopper things, and you could play them, and it would create this like light show, and you could sort of chase the sort of light show around, and it's just I just love that more more events are giving a platform to that, so people can see the kind of stuff that's going on. Like I guess it's not really like a gaming trend, but it's sort of a gaming industry trend, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. And I think because I know I've read about some of this and seen it as well that things are getting a little more experimental, and I don't think that's a bad thing when you
Mm,
see that, people are willing to take even more wild risks instead of, just trying to hyper focus down on a specific part of a game or a genre or what have you. But, you know, just expand it and take the risk of just interactability. I don't even know if that's a
mm.
word. Um,
It
but
is
that
now. It's your
perfect.
podcast. Make up all the words.
Um, but I think that's also just is awesome because you never know what it's going to lead to, and like it
Mm,
could lead to something really awesome or it could lead to nothing. But at the end of the day, you have to go down that road to see where it goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Becky, like I said, I don't want to keep you for too much longer. I know everyone's, especially now with the pandemic and working from home, everyone's busy and everyone's, trying to balance things. So instead, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. However, if there's anything else you want to discuss, like a cool game that we might have not touched on, what you're doing, something you feel more people should just be more aware of, the floor is yours. As well, please let everyone know where they can find more information about special effect, especially in this case, if there's anything they can do to help out or what have you. And of course, I'll put all this in the description as well. But I want to give you the floor to talk about pretty much whatever you'd like to talk about, including, as you said earlier, there's a few soapbox you have. By all means, if you would like, climb on up on one.
Oh man, how long have you got? Thank you so much. I mean, again, thank you for having me. It's lovely to be able to get the word out like this, and like I say, it's this kind of stuff is really important for us, and word of mouth. So if anyone's listening and they have thought, wow, that's really cool, please tell people about us. I mean, retweet stuff that we put out. It's really important. And if anybody does want to get involved, you can head to our website, which is www.specialeffect.org.uk, and there's details there on virtual events that you can do if people want to run the London 10K or the London Marathon virtually from Canada or from wherever you're listening. You can do so. We've got some places for that available at the moment. We've got a really cool new event that has recently launched called Stride Quest, which is very based on like RPGs and text-based adventure games and D&D, where you can set yourself a walking challenge, and the further you walk, the more of a really cool story you uncover. We've actually had some really cool artists and writers come in and help us with writing the story for that. So it's they've got a lot of experience, writing D&D one shots and stuff like that. So it's a very cool story. um, so that's up on the website as well. Uh, we will have Game Blast happening next year, which is our annual streaming fundraiser. So if you're a streamer or if you just want to stream for us, outside of Game Blast, there's information on the website about that as well. So yeah, there's a multitude of ways that people can get involved, and just get in touch, really.
And that's awesome. And thank you for that information. And as I said, I'll definitely put, in the episode description and everything. And, as I said at the beginning, I strongly believe in what it is special effect does. I think it's absolutely fantastic. So given every opportunity that I can, I think I'm also going to do my best to spread the word. Just because, like I said, I firmly believe that uh, video gaming should be more accessible and open to everyone.
Mm.
And you guys are doing an amazing thing in making that an option to people. So I think everyone should be supportive of that. And um I hope you guys just continue to get more people aware and just continue to build, because like I said, it's what you guys do is amazing and it needs to be um supported more. um
Mm.
I don't have the right
Thank you
words
so
to
much.
put this in phrasing, sorry.
No, that's lovely, and as I say, that is really important and really valuable to us. Like people, I don't think people understand like how important it is to us, just word of mouth and spreading the word. So thank you.
Yeah, no, you don't need to thank me, really. You guys are doing the thing that deserves thanks. I'm just an idiot with a microphone.
We're getting dangerously British here. We're no, thank you, thank you. No, thank you, no, thank you.
I kind of wonder if that's where the Canadians get it from. Um,
Sorry.
um, I'm not. We're not going to get into that loop. No, sorry. Well, Becky, if there isn't anything else you wanna discuss, or no other soapboxes you'd like to get on, I'll let you get on with your day. But please, if there is anything else, just let me know and we'll discuss it further.
Yeah, sure. No, I think I've exhausted all of my words now, running out of saying stuff, energy. No, can't think of anything. We're good.
Well, all right, fair enough. Well, then, thanks again to our guest, Becky Frost, for making time to have this conversation with me, and thank you for joining us on the Red Tunic podcast. And a special thanks to Ronald Jenkins for the use of music from the title track from Road Steep. And if you like this podcast and want to support it and help it grow, please subscribe to receive the latest episodes and be sure to share it with those you might think also enjoy it. As well, really just support organizations like Special Effect. They're fantastic. Anyway, thanks, and until next time.